You are being remembered in prayer. Now, at this exact moment, someone whose name begins with the letter S is, with eyes closed, asking for protection for your life. And you do not even suspect it. This person does not tell you. They do not post it on social networks. They do not make a point of appearing, but every night before sleeping, they speak your name in a low voice and ask God to watch over you. And do you know what the most impressive detail is? This prayer is working. That deliverance you had last week, that day when everything could have gone wrong but did not, that door that opened out of nowhere without logical explanation, there was a prayer behind it. And this prayer came from someone with an S in their name. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I am going to show you how to identify this person, why they were spiritually chosen to intercede for your life, and what happens in the spiritual plane when someone prays for you in secret, and more. I will reveal to you a very clear sign that the universe sends when this prayer is about to change your reality in a radical way. If you ignore this sign, you may miss one of the greatest turnarounds of your life. Before continuing, I need to ask you one thing. If this theme makes sense to you, if you felt something upon hearing that someone prays for you in secret, leave your like now. This simple gesture helps this video reach other people who also need to hear this message. And subscribe to the channel because every week we bring content that will strengthen your spiritual journey and transform your way of viewing life. Now let us get to what matters. There is a phenomenon that psychology calls the invisible connection effect. Researchers at the University of Virginia in the United States discovered something surprising. When one person thinks of another with genuine intention of good, the brain of the one receiving that thought presents measurable alterations. It is not fiction, it is not superstition, it is neuroscience. Magnetic resonance shows that areas linked to well-being and emotional security activate in people who are the target of consistent positive thoughts, even without direct contact. Now translate this to the spiritual field. If a positive thought already generates an effect, imagine a prayer charged with faith, with tears, with true love. Imagine what this does to the energetic field of the receiver. It is as if the person praying for you creates a shield, a mantle, a protection that you do not see but feel. And this person, whose name begins with S, does this every day, without expecting anything in return, without wanting recognition, without demanding presence or gratitude. Let me tell you something that perhaps you have never stopped to think about. In Brazil, research from Datafolha shows that more than 83% of the Brazilian population believes in the power of prayer. And among people over 35 years old, this number rises to more than 90%. This means that the vast majority of people around you, at some point in the day, are praying. And among all these people, there is one who prays specifically for you, with first and last name, with details, asking for specific things for your health, for your work, for your family, for your heart. And why does this person's name begin with S? In sacred numerology, the letter S carries the vibration of the number 1 when converted by the Pythagorean system. And the number 1 is the number of spiritual leadership, of initiative, of direct connection with the creative source. People with S at the beginning of their name possess, by nature, a stronger connection with the plane of intercession. They did not learn to pray. They were born with this gift. It is as if the universe had placed in them an open channel of communication with the divine. Think now, who in your life has a name starting with S? It could be Sandra, Sonia, Silvana, Sebastião, Sergio, Sueli, Simone, Samuel, Solange, Socorro. It could be that aunt you have not visited in a long time. It could be that neighbor who always greets you with a smile, even when you do not respond properly. It could be that old friend who disappeared, but who every now and then sends a message asking how you are, for no reason at all. It could be your own mother, your grandmother, someone who has already departed from this life, but who continues interceding for you in the spiritual plane. And I know what you might be thinking, but I moved away from this person, or it has been years since we talked. It does not matter. Prayer does not respect distance. Prayer does not respect resentment. Prayer does not respect time. When someone is spiritually designated to pray for you, this mission remains active regardless of circumstances. There may have been a fight, There may have been distance, there may have been silence for years. The prayer continues, because it does not depend on the relationship between the two of you. It depends on the relationship that person has with God. And that relationship is unshakable. And here comes an important revelation that I need you to record in your heart. When someone prays for you in secret, there are signs that the universe sends for you to notice. Pay attention, because this happens more frequently than you imagine. First sign. You wake up in the middle of the night, generally between 3 and 4 in the morning, for no apparent reason. It is not insomnia, it is not anxiety, it is your spirit being touched by the prayer that someone is making for you at that exact moment. Christian tradition calls this time the hour of mercy. Oriental spirituality calls it the portal of silence. Regardless of the name you give it, the fact is, if you wake up at this time frequently, someone is praying for you. Second sign, you feel an inexplicable heat in your chest, as if someone were hugging you from the inside. This happens out of nowhere, generally at a moment when you are alone, pensive, perhaps even sad. This heat is not physical, it comes from within. It is the energetic reflection of a prayer reaching you. Studies on bioenergy conducted by the HeartMath Institute in California show that the electromagnetic field of the heart can be influenced by emotional intentions of other people, even at a distance. In other words, when someone prays for you with genuine love, your heart literally feels it. Third sign, and this one is very strong. You escape from situations that had no logical explanation. You almost suffered an accident, but for a second, something held you back. You almost made a wrong decision, but something deep in your being shouted, "Do not go." You almost lost something important, but at the last instant, everything was resolved. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is intercession. Someone with S in their name asked God to protect you, and God heard. Now I want you to stop for a moment and think about your life in the last months. How many times did you feel that something invisible was protecting you? How many times did you escape from something that could have been serious? How many times did a solution appear out of nowhere exactly when you needed it most? If you can remember at least one of these situations, it is because this person's prayer is active over your life. And the most beautiful thing, it does not stop. It is daily, it is constant, it is silent. But it is extremely powerful. Write in the comments now. I recognize the prayer that is over my life. Write this as an act of faith. When you recognize, you activate. When you activate, you potentiate. And when you potentiate, the blessing that was on the way arrives faster. I will tell you a real story that happened in a small town in the interior of Minas Gerais. Donna Selma, 67 years old, a widow, retired, lived alone. Every day, at 5 in the morning, she lit a candle, opened her little notebook, and prayed for each person in her family. Name by name, nephew by nephew, neighbor by neighbor. She had a list of more than 40 names, and she prayed for each one every day, without fail. No one knew, no one asked, no one thanked. One day, her grandson, who lived in São Paulo, suffered a motorcycle accident. Serious, the doctors gave few chances. The whole family went into despair. Calls in the middle of the night, rushing to the hospital, crying in the ICU corridors. That scenario that no one wants to live, but that millions of Brazilian families have already lived. But Donna Selma did not despair. She sat in her chair, opened her little notebook and said, "I was already praying for him even before this happened. God already knows." And do you know what happened? The grandson recovered. Totally. In weeks, when the doctors spoke of months. The doctors could not explain it. The clinical picture was not compatible with the recovery that occurred. It was one of those cases that medicine calls atypical evolution. But Donna Selma knew exactly what had happened. Her prayer had already prepared the way before the problem existed. She had already shielded that grandson. The protection was already in place. This story is more common than it seems in Brazil. In every neighborhood, in every city, there is a Donna Selma. There is a person with S in their name who intercedes in silence, and perhaps this person is in your life now, and you are not giving them due value. Here I need to tell you about something that most people do not understand about secret prayer. There is a huge difference between praying publicly and praying in secret. In the biblical tradition, Matthew chapter 6 verse 6 says clearly, "But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly." This passage is not there by chance. It reveals a profound spiritual principle. Secret prayer has more power because it is pure. It has no vanity. It has no audience. It has no ego involved. It is just the soul speaking with God, and when prayer is like this, clean, humble, true, it crosses dimensions. The person with S who prays for you understood this intuitively. They do not need a stage. They do not need recognition. They pray because they feel it, because something inside them says, pray for that person. They need it, and they obey, every time, without questioning. And now I am going to reveal to you something that will completely change your perspective. When someone prays for you in secret, this prayer creates what mystics call a link of spiritual protection. It is as if an invisible thread of light connected the soul of the one who prays to the soul of the one who receives. This thread does not break with distance. It does not break with time. It does not break even with death. That is why there are cases of people who feel the presence of loved ones who have already departed. That grandmother who is gone, but who still appears in your dreams, still sends signs, still protects you. If her name began with S, pay more attention to the dreams you have with her. She is visiting you, she is warning you, she is preparing you for something big that is to come. If you are feeling something strong at this moment, if something inside you is saying, this video is for me, I ask you, share this video with someone you love. It can be via WhatsApp, it can be through any social network. Sometimes the person who needs to hear this message is closer than you imagine. Let us go deeper. I want to show you now what quantum science has to say about prayer and intention. Physicist Dean Radin, senior researcher at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, conducted experiments that demonstrated something extraordinary. Focused human intention is capable of influencing physical systems. In one of the experiments, people focused positive thoughts on water samples. The samples exposed to these intentions presented measurable molecular changes compared to the control group. If a thought can alter the structure of water, and the human body is composed of more than 60% water, what can a daily, consistent prayer full of love do for you? It can reorganize your energy. It can clear negative patterns. It can open paths that were blocked. It can unlock situations that seemed impossible. It can heal emotional wounds that you have carried for years without even noticing. And the person with S in their name who prays for you is doing exactly that, reorganizing your life on the subtle plane so that the changes manifest on the physical plane. Each prayer is like a drop of clean water in a murky river. At first, you do not notice, but with time the water clears, and when it clears, you see the bottom, you see the truth, you see the path. You know that feeling that something good is about to happen? That intuition that a turnaround is coming? This is the reflection of prayer. It is as if the universe were preparing the ground, setting the table, organizing every detail so that, at the right moment, everything fits perfectly. And the prayer of someone with S in their name is the key that unlocks this door. Now pay attention to what I am going to tell you, because this is very serious. There is a mistake that most people make, and this mistake can block the blessing that is coming in your direction. The mistake is silent ingratitude. Many people receive protection, receive deliverances, receive blessings, and do not stop for a second to give thanks. They do not thank God. They do not thank the universe. And much less do they thank the person who is praying for them. They live on autopilot. They wake up, work, solve problems, pay bills, sleep. And in the middle of this rush, they forget that they are not doing everything alone. They forget that there is a spiritual network sustaining every step. They forget that, while they complain about the traffic on the marginal or on the crowded BR, someone is at home on their knees asking that they arrive safely. Ingratitude is not malice. Most of the time it is distraction. It is life pulling attention to everything that is urgent and taking attention away from what is essential. But this distraction has a spiritual cost. When you do not recognize the protection you receive, you weaken the channel. It is like having a phone ringing, ringing, ringing and never answering. Eventually, the calls decrease. Not because the person stopped calling, but because the connection needs two active ends. I'm not saying that you need to find out who it is and call this person now, especially because secret prayer, by definition, does not seek recognition. But what you can do, and what I strongly encourage you to do, is to emit gratitude. Today, before sleeping, close your eyes and say internally, "Thank you to whoever prays for me. May the same blessing that this person asks for me return multiplied to their life." When you do this, you complete the spiritual cycle. Energy goes out, energy comes back. And when it comes back larger, stronger, more transformative. I know that many people watching this video are going through a difficult moment. It could be a phase of uncertainty at work. It could be a health problem that scares you. It could be a relationship that is worn out. It could be a loneliness that no one sees, because you learn to disguise it well. I want you to know one thing. The fact that you clicked on this video is not a coincidence. Nothing in the universe is a coincidence. You were guided here because you needed to hear this today. You needed to know that you are not alone. You needed to understand that even on your worst days, there is someone on their knees asking for you. And this person with S in their name feels your pain even when you say nothing. Do you know why? Because the gift of intercession comes accompanied by the gift of spiritual sensitivity. These people feel when something is not right with those they love. They wake up with a tightness in their chest and think of you. They feel an inexplicable urgency to pray, and they pray, even without knowing the reason. And later, when they discover that on that day you were going through something serious, they understand. They always understand. There is a concept in transpersonal psychology called relational synchrony. It describes exactly this: moments in which two people are energetically connected in such a way that one feels what the other is experiencing, even without direct communication. It is not telepathy in the popular sense. It is something deeper. It is a connection that transcends the rational, and prayer is the fuel of this connection. Now I'm going to give you the most practical part of this video. I want to teach you 3 concrete attitudes that you can take starting today to honor the prayer that is over your life and potentiate its results. First attitude: practice intentional silence. Every night before sleeping, stay in silence for at least 5 minutes. No cell phone, no television, no music, just you and the silence. In that moment, open your heart and say internally, "I receive with gratitude every prayer made for me." This simple act works like an antenna. You are tuning your frequency to the frequency of the prayer that is already being made. It is like adjusting the radio to the right station. The signal already exists, you just need to tune in. Second attitude: reciprocate the prayer. You do not need to know who prays for you to reciprocate. Choose a person in your life and pray for them in secret, without telling them, without posting it, without expecting anything. Just pray. When you do this, you enter the same cycle of blessing that the person with S is already generating in your life. And this cycle, when it strengthens, attracts abundance, health, peace, and opportunities that you cannot even imagine today. Third attitude: pay attention to the signs. From today on, observe. Observe the dreams you have. Observe the people who cross your path. Observe the opportunities that appear. Observe the deliverances. Observe the synchronicities. All of these are messages. The universe is communicating with you all the time. The prayer of the person with S in their name is like an amplifier of these signs. The more they pray, the clearer everything becomes for you. But you need to be attentive, you need to be present, you need to be open. I know people who started paying attention to these signs, and their lives changed completely in a matter of months. A woman from Recife told me that, after starting to observe synchronicities, she realized that every time she thought about changing jobs, something related appeared. A conversation on the bus, a vacancy on a website she opened by mistake, an unexpected call. She followed the signs, took courage, changed jobs, and today earns double what she used to earn. Coincidence? She swears it is not. And her aunt, whose name begins with S, confessed months later that she had been praying exactly for that area of her life. I will tell you one more thing that will impress you. There is a study published in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine that analyzed more than 1,500 people over 40 years old. The study showed that people who reported knowing that someone prayed for them presented significantly lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. In other words, just the fact of believing that someone prays for you already reduces your stress. Now imagine when that prayer is real, when it is daily, when it is made with true love. The impact on your physical and emotional health is immense. In Brazil, where the pressure of daily life is brutal, where traffic consumes hours of life, where bills arrive before the salary, where economic uncertainty takes away the sleep of millions of families, knowing that there is someone praying for you is more than a comfort. It is a matter of emotional survival. It is a reminder that you matter, that someone cares, that in the middle of chaos, there is a voice asking for peace for your life. According to data from the IBGE, more than 30 million Brazilians live in a situation of food insecurity. Millions work without formal contracts. Millions support entire families with less than 2 minimum wages. And in the midst of all this, what keeps many people standing is not money in the bank. It is faith. It is the certainty that there is something greater operating. It is the feeling that no matter how difficult the situation is, someone is covering your life with prayer. And often this person is also going through difficulties. But even so, they pray for you before praying for themselves. This is love in the highest form that exists, and this voice has a name that begins with S. Now I want to close this video with something that will remain engraved in your soul. The person with S who prays for you may never tell you what they do. They may never receive a thank you. They may never know that you watched this video and thought of them, but that does not stop them from continuing, because the love that moves this prayer does not depend on a return. It is a love that exists for the sake of existing, a love that manifests in the purest act one human being can do for another, placing their name before God and saying, "Take care of this person for me." If during this video the name of someone came to your mind, if a face appeared, if a memory arose, keep that. This is the universe showing you who it is, and if you want, in a subtle way, without revealing what you know, send a message to this person today. It can be something simple. I was thinking of you. I hope you are well. Thank you for existing in my life. You cannot imagine the impact these words can have on someone who prays for you in secret and never receives any recognition. Before you go, I want to make a sincere request. If this video touched your heart, if it brought some clarity or comfort, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Tag in the comments a person with S in their name who is special in your life, and subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, because the next video will reveal something even deeper about the people the universe placed in your life with a specific purpose. I guarantee you, you will not want to miss it. And remember, at this exact moment while you hear these words, someone with S in their name is praying for you. Receive this prayer. Open your heart. Allow it to do its work, because the best of your life is yet to come. And this prayer is proof that you have already been chosen to receive. Gratitude for having stayed until here. We will see each other in the next video, and may the peace that comes from the prayer of the one who loves you in secret be upon you now and forever.